Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to Prime on my Media Prime. We are very, very sorry for the late start. We make machines at times they decide to play fast one on us. However, it is often said that better late than never. That is why we thought that whatever we prepared to discuss this evening should be brought to you live on Prime. This evening we are looking at our local development, moving closer to the village to see how at the basic level the village could organize itself for development. We are using Missaka village as case study to see how the traditional institutions are organized in a village setting to drive development efforts for the benefit of the villagers. We are going to be discussing this with panelists. Two of them are already in the house. We are in the company of His Royal Majesty Dipoko Daniel, the traditional ruler of Missaka village, found in Tiku subdivision, Fako division, southwest region of Cameroon. Good evening, Your Royal Majesty. We're glad to have you for the very first time on Prime.
Thank you, Staffman Kum. I like calling Staffman because I'm also affiliated to the media house. It's a pleasure, it's my honor to be on set today and to share some thoughts with our televiewers.
Okay, we also are in the company of Mr. Ebelle Martin. He is in the village setting. He's in charge of communication, though he is also at the helm of an enterprise that is operating in Douala, precisely at the ports in Douala. Good evening, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Kum Leonard, for having us here to throw more light on our village and some pressing issues that may be of interest to our most cherished televiewers.
Okay, we are supposed to be in the company of Apostle Ambe Valentine. We hope he joins us in the course of the program. But we're talking about Missaka village. Where is this village found?
If you give me the permission,
yes,
I would.
Your Majesty.
Okay. Missaka village is actually, when you talk of Tiko being the gateway city to the southwest region, you're actually referring to Missaka.
Okay.
So Missaka is actually the gateway town that opens into Tiko. So from the Mongo Bridge right up to somewhere around the Roba towards Miserele, when you're going towards Tiko by your right, all of that area where they call the toll gate. So the toll gate area is actually, all of that area is Missaka's second-class chiefdom, because it harbors a lot of other sub-villages under it.
Missaka starts from Mungo. So
the Mongo Bridge.
Anybody who is watching us, the essence is also to help us understand our respective communities from Mungo up towards Misele is Missaka. But this name is not really known. Along the way we know, but the Sonekam, we know some of these villages are not Missaka. Why is that name not really pronounced?
Well, I don't know why the name has not been pronounced or renowned up to now, because it is supposed to be. My late father did a lot in this country, Melasone Dipoko.
Okay.
He's a writer. They are using his book even up to now at the advanced level. He was one time mayor in Tiko. And he's the one who actually brought the toll gate to that area. The toll gate was supposed to be in Tiko town, but he brought it right at where the toll gate is now, where we call toll gate. So I want to think that maybe Missaka has been hidden all this while because God wanted to give me the opportunity to bring it to the lamplight.
So Melasone Dipoko, prolific writer.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Yes, prolific writer, and I've read some of his poems.
Okay, because of woman,
yes,
things like that.
And many persons would not know that he was the traditional ruler of Missaka village, and that you took over from him. This village has been existing
since 1973.
Okay.
Since 1873, sorry, beg your pardon. 1873, when our great-grandfather Dipoko Lembola left Mongo in Bonason, and decided that the place was too small for him, and he started making a walk up the river, up the banks of River Mongo, and he settled where he called Missaka. That's something that you inherit. Sakalambo, just to inherit something. So he said, this is my inheritance.
Missaka is the gateway to the southwest region, bordered by which villages? Modika?
Yeah, we have Modika on the other side. We have Mondoni at the extreme of Missaka.
Okay. So it is the village between Mondoni on the right, coming from the Douala's end, and Modika on the left, and then ends where? Misselele?
Yes.
Okay. How is Missaka doing today?
It is faring as great as we left it. So if you see us here this day, it means we left home well. And we pray, God, that the serenity and the development that is on course should just continue that way.
The development that is on course, development that is engaged, initiated by you, the villagers, the elites. What are some of these things that are being done now in the village?
Yes, we have, first of all, the reorganization exercise that Our Majesty Akasam Makunde Daniel Dipoko initiated, coupled with the other visions that he has for the entire second-class chiefdom. It was but necessary to reorganize the chiefdom in such a way that in his vision, he wants his chiefdom to align within the spirit of decentralization, and that was where we had most of our focus. We have enterprises that will come in. We also have to protect our native rights, and we have to ensure that the basic necessities that are necessary for living should be provided to our people. And knowing that it's a cosmopolitan community, and given the socio-political crisis, we are bound to host so many people who are coming in to seek better living conditions, to seek a calmer and serene atmosphere, and to participate in nation building in their own very small way. But that notwithstanding, we are moving, as I said. God is on our side, and we believe the visionary, as he moves ahead, we will follow, and better things lies ahead.
Cosmopolitan. How cosmopolitan is Missaka village? It's a village, and you call it cosmopolitan?
Yes, well, when they say cosmopolitan, it is likened to what they call Cameroon is Africa in miniature.
Okay.
It's not only cosmopolitan within the Anglophone community or within the Cameroon community, but you even see people of different citizenship. People from other countries, foreigners are there. The Mongo people, who are the primary people, who are the natives there, are there. We have the other people from our cherished Fako division who are very much present, with whom we enjoy native rights. And we have people from the other Anglophone regions who are there. We have other nationals like Nigerians, Ghanaians, who are also there. So it makes it, we don't want to limit it to say it is just cosmopolitan in the Cameroon sense of it, but in reality, it is Africa in miniature.
You talked, so is it you or is Royal Majesty who talked about the implantation of companies? Do we have companies already existing in Missaka village, and is the village benefiting from their presence?
Yes, I think that's a good one. We have a lot of companies already existing or already living with us. We have a lot of companies who are the pipeline coming into the village. And we have a lot of companies we are still trying to bring or, co-opt or inculcate into the community. So we have a company, a primary company like Bow Plantations. Some people came there. I think the Canadian High Commission, they came there to carry out a study, and they were shocked to see bananas all over the village. And they were asking, how come that you still have banana when we know that in Cameroon, almost in the southwest region, we don't see banana around. That is the gift that God has blessed us with. We have peas. We can be proud to say that in our area, we are really blessed. We are really blessed. That is why we host a lot of IDPs. We host a lot, as he was saying, the communication officer, we host a lot of other nationals. We have even other ethnic groups in Cameroon a lot of them. And we also have the sand quarries. We have like the IHCM, the Hosseini Industrial Sand Quarry of Missaka. We have also a company that we created, you know, the Commonwealth Cassava Farmers Cooperative, that we created to be processing cassava into gari and all of that, to assist the local farmers, you know, to improve on their output. So other companies like, I will just maybe release it here, Sweco Poles, that we have been working with since 2019, and they are at the verge of entering into the village. They have a partnership to produce concrete poles with Enio. So they are coming into the village, and that is a wonderful innovation.
Is Ayato part of Missaka?
Yato is not part of Missaka.
Okay.
Yeah, they call it Ayato, but it's actually Yato. Yato is not part of Missaka because it is found the other side of the Mongo. Yeah, so
okay.
Across the Mongo, we have Missaka.
Okay, so the toll gate actually is in Missaka.
The toll gate actually is in Missaka, but the toll gate area was inhabited by the people of Mongo mainland.
Okay.
They were the people farming there. So they built their bush houses, and so the toll gate was actually no place. Actually no place. Nobody even desired to even be there. It was like a dumping center, a swamp. I had to go. I think one time he even called me. I said, please, I'm still in school. I need to get some knowledge. And after that, I had to travel out of the country for my further studies. And so my uncle took over the rulership, Chief Dipoko Ebenge, Chief Dipoko Ebenge, the Wisono, as we usually call him, who also died in 2015. So that is where I came in.
Did you take over without the
opposition?
The normal struggles, fightings, killings that we knew obtains before someone becomes a chief? Was it smooth?
Well, it was not smooth. Then it became smooth. Then it became rough.
Okay.
At the beginning, we had, when the family sat, I think on the 23rd of September 2015, we sat and there was a need to present a choice before the administration will come. Someone nominated me, someone from the family nominated me as the first nomination. Normally it was just supposed to end there, but unfortunately another person nominated another person. So, and actually in the setup, there were actually 7 kingmakers that were identified as the people that had the right to do the selection. So the 2 of us were asked to go out by the chairperson of that meeting. So we went outside, and I remember when we met at the door, I told him, uncle, because he's my uncle.
Okay.
He's my uncle. I'm his son. So I told him, I said, if the family will choose you, then I'm going to give you my support. So I expected him to also say the same, but he said, okay. So well, we went our separate ways. Then one of my cousins came out, and he was just signaling me with the hand that everything was okay. So then they asked us to come back, and then they announced the result, that the family, out of the 5 people who were left, because the 2 of us were sent out, our 2 families already were out of the 7. So the 5 people who were left, 3 came for me and 2 went for him. So if you add the 2 of us, I will have 4 and he will have 3.
So that's how you.
That's how it came out.
And the village has been smooth. Everything has been well to say that the ancestors are happy with His Royal Majesty.
When it comes to what the tradition upholds, everything is smooth. But you know, in human ventures, you have people who will not want to let the waters go its natural course. So there are some internal issues, but that notwithstanding is just at the level of the family.
Okay.
Because as the chief rightly said, it is between him and his uncle. So it does not infringe into the normal functioning of the village. So anytime that his uncle sees reason to come back home, I believe within their family, he as the father of the house should accept him. but at the level of the village, everything is moving, and the page is already done and dusted. So we are moving forward. We have done what is right within our generation, and we pray that the future generation will come and continue and uphold what is true and just.
We are talking about the traditional setting. His Royal Majesty, a young man. I see him also very young. Are these the people leading the village? Are you? Yeah.
Yes. Let me just throw a quick one.
Yes. Because you said the village is Africa in miniature.
Yes. When I remember, you said something like, "Why is Missaka not in the limelight?"
Yes.
I believe your question is already answering that first question. You know, we were somehow at the extremes because we were run, or we are still run under the Tiko municipality and Tiko subdivision. So if you take Tiko and Mongo and Missaka, it's far off. So in the past, you have people who were, I can say our fathers, some of them were like living in the dark ages, and he needed somebody. As you can see, the prolific writer, his father, the late Chief Dipoko, may he so rest in peace. He had to fight hard to bring some emancipation in the minds of the people. So when you see young people today, it does not mean there are no fathers. They are there. But since they feel that we have some level of knowledge, and we can uphold what they believe and what our fathers believe, they gave us their blessings so that we can go forward. So what we do out there, and if you go back home, it is in uniformity. So it is just that they prefer to stay back home and make sure that home is good, and they send us, like we say in our culture, they send us for hunting to bring good things for the village. But that notwithstanding, the most important thing is that we learn from them. We do what they are supposed to. If they were in our shoes, they will do the same. So it is not an issue of youth or elderly. We are all in the same direction.
Yeah, all in the same direction. I see the videos behind us. Is that the traditional council? How is the village organized, Your Majesty?
The village is organized in 3 sectors, apart from the general community. So we have the traditional council, we have the college of notables, and then we have the kingmakers or the royal family. So that's how the village is organized. Now the people you see mostly featuring in the video there, or in the picture behind on the TV, are the notables. These are the people who are actually implicated in the culture, in the cultural aspects and the tradition of the people of Missaka. The traditional council is a little bit an enlarged and mixed kind of a setup, where we have all other representation inside. But for the notability, it is very, very jealous. It is not open to recruitment and all of that. It is actually the people who bear the different traditions, who represent the different traditions and cultures of the different families that make up that setup. So that is the structure of Missaka.
And let's talk about development. How are projects initiated? How are they implemented? Are there some that have been realized so far?
Okay, let me come in. The first project I had in mind, or that I brought in, was this cassava farmers cooperative, because we actually applied with PIDMA, and PIDMA selected us as one of because the World Bank sponsored initiative. So we wrote a project for 100 million, and they had to sponsor it, but we fell short somewhere because we could not raise the 10% that was required of us. We struggled. I did my own best, and they want that it should not be a one-man venture. It should be a collective. All the shareholders should contribute. So the next project that came up with was that of community hall. You know, we noted that the house that we were using, or we are still using, It's a house that was built by my grandfather, not just the father. So it carries the old concept, but we needed something that will reflect modern days. And so we started a project with the community hall. And I will tell you the truth, that project is self-sponsored. It's not sponsored by any man. There's no aid that has come from anywhere for that as far as that project is concerned. I'm doing it by the grace of God with the little means that I have. And I felt that would be a legacy that I could also leave for the community. And I'm not only doing that in Missaka, I'm also doing that in Moko. And then we are envisaging doing it in all the 11 other communities that make up Missaka.
Okay. Can we have a look at the community hall His Royal Majesty is talking about?
So we are here at the Missaka Community Hall, where the construction work is still going on. So you can see we are through with the walls, and now we are looking at the roofing. From the roofing, we'll come to the flooring and all of that. Okay, the chief of Moko, we have Chief Ebenge, Oscar Dipoko. The chief of Smomoko, we have Chief Ndivenganje. The chief of Njok, we have Chief Jibeson and Faustin. We have the chief of Njopongo, we have Chief Jean-Jacques Ngange. We have the chief of Mukunda, we have Chief Dipitakwa, Emmanuel. We have the chief of Sokumbonjo, we have Chief Emmanuel Elong. We have the chief of Mwanda 1, we have Chief Nje Emmanuel Dipoko. We have the chief of Mwanda 2, we have Chief Simon Guti. And the 9th, we have the chief of Lobo, Chief Emmanuel Kwo Embola. So these are the 9 people who were installed as my direct representatives in all those communities. There were 2 other communities that were suspended. We have Bonibanda and Mulanga. Mulanga is actually the village that actually borders Missaka with the Mongo Bridge, that actually links Missaka to the Mongo Bridge. So when we talk of Missaka being the gateway town, we are actually saying that the actual village there is Mulanga. So with time, we would install the other 2 as we see need.
Is it to say that you are a paramount chief amongst these chiefs, or what's happening here?
Yes, I'm the paramount chief. I'm the second-class chief to all this chiefdom. They have never been chiefs in all of these areas.
Okay.
So it was my forefathers have been leading the areas just like that. Just a single person in Missaka will lead all the other areas. You have to go around and see what is happening, put order in all the areas. But you know, as Cameroon is moving towards decentralization, as the communication man said, we felt that we should not be left behind. We too should, devolve some level of power, give autonomy to the people, let them self-develop, then we only come to coordinate. So I'm the paramount traditional ruler, the second-class chief of this area.
Giving power to these people, don't you think they would want to one day say we no longer are under Missaka, that we are villages on our own? Don't you think so? Yeah.
Yes, I thought about that. And, you can't tell the heart of man. But we've had enough time to talk. We've had some assurances to give to ourselves. We've had some engagements to take to ensure that such things will not come to destroy. The move we are taking is to build, to ensure that we build the community and not to destroy it. So each one has taken an engagement in front of our ancestors to make sure that they will respect the cordiality that has existed with us from now even till the next generations.
Don't you think some people will be tempted, especially when it comes to this land issue? Some of these villagers will go asking for land.
Yeah, what you are saying is true in the human sense of it. You see, when it comes to human beings, you cannot determine what they can do tomorrow. You can only say what they have done yesterday. You cannot even tell what they will do in the next minute. But for our own case, if you look historically, Missaka has always had its tradition and custom strongly rooted. That it is not for a one man, no matter how powerful you are, to break what has been done. And this goes without saying that I can even generalize to tell you that Mongo area within Fako division is typical. It upholds its tradition no matter what. It does not look you in the face to tell you that this can't go. So you will be surprised that even in the next 50 years, or even in the next century, what was done today will still hold its ground. Same as what was done 100 years ago, we have upheld that and we are moving with it.
You're moving with it, Your Highness. There is always this confusion. This Mungo is under Fako.
Yes.
You people are Bakwarians.
No.
Okay, we are not Bakwaris.
We are not.
Yes, that is what I wanted us to understand here. Yes, because there is this Mungo, there's the Bakwari, but everyone is
the Balong.
under Fako.
Yes.
Yes.
Also the Bimbia, the Wovias.
Yes. Can our televiewers actually understand where the difference lies?
We are Mongo people. We are not Bakwarians, and you know, from what the echoes that have been coming from the mountain has given us a lot of signals to sit up. And this Monday that just passed, was it the 7th or so, or on the 8th, something like that. On the 8th, we had a meeting. We came up with an association of Mongo chiefs.
Okay.
Because we think that if we don't do this, then the Bakwari people may swallow us.
I see.
Because actually they form the majority of the people. So much so that they are even, maybe they have finished land in Boya and they are now stretching down to Tiko to start applying for land and things like that. So we discovered that if we sit quiet, like the 4 lepers who said, if we stay here, we perish. If we go back to the city, we die. Let us better go ahead. So we have decided to take upon ourselves to make the Mongo history known. This coming Monday, we have another meeting, a second meeting, to consolidate it, and then write audiences to meet with the minister, the prime minister, and to the president, going to the presidency. So those are all moves that we are actually putting up to make the Mongo clan or the Mongo man known.
Yes, Mungo. When we talk of the people of Mungo, what I understand, this guy is you people who are close to the Mungo River, Missaka, and then getting to Misele extends up to where? Yes.
Misele is the last village that borders us with the Bakwari, in Tiko. But unfortunately, or let me not say unfortunately, Tiko is not a purely a Bakwari town. Tiko is a shared town, shared between the Bakwari people and the Mongo people. And that is why there are correspondence that we saw at the GO's office, got the governor asking that land should be given to the Mongo people under Chief Loben Jembele, the former chief of Miselele, who was the president of the Tiko Chiefs Conference. So I think that a lot has not been done to expose the Mongo people, and that is our assignment. We have that. It's incumbent on us to make sure that the Mongo man is also known. Even in levels of appointments, you really don't find a lot of Mongo people around. But we have to ensure that that is done by developing ourselves, and then
which are the villages that would constitute this association of Mungo?
Okay, we have Missaka, which is a second-class chiefdom. We have the Mongo Island, which is also a second-class chiefdom. So we have these 2 second-class chiefdoms in Mongo. Then we have Modeka, we have Bonamuni, we have Bonason, we have Mongo mainland, we have Miselele. I don't know if I've talked about Modeka. Yes, I've talked about Modeka. So we have Miselele, we have Ebunji, which is also a town close to Tiko, but it's just the border between Miselele and Tiko. So we have Ebunji. The chief there is the former mayor of Tiko, Mukundu. Yeah. So, and then we have
Mondoni is not part of that?
No, Mondoni is not. Mondoni is actually a Bakwiri. It's the tribe that constitutes Mondoni is actually Bakwiri. From the history, you know, I was looking at the dictionary of villages in Fako, and we saw that Mondoni, the tribe there is Bakwiri. But you come to Njok, it's Mongo, Bona, this place. Jopongo is Mongo, Mukunda is Mongo. All of those are the Mongo villages.
Do you speak different dialects from the Bakurists?
Yeah, we speak very different dialect from the Bakure people. So the Bakure man will say Janu, has come here. The Mongo man will say Yaun, Ya.
Okay.
They say Ja, we say Ya. So we are different. Though there are always all these similarities, you know. You know, the Mongo, I'm sure one of the reasons why we have not been in the lamplight is because we were previously or initially we were under the Bumbari, under Douala. We were grouped with the Douala because geographically it was actually very difficult to position us. We are on this side of the Mongo and we are on the other side of the Mongo. So the Mongo separates us. So it was difficult to really decide where to fit these people. So finally we were there and we are this way. So that's how our history goes on.
So the issue at stake today is the fear that other villages may take your land.
They will swallow us.
And not necessarily that they fear. What you say the fear is as if there is a threat.
Okay.
What we are doing is we are asserting who we are.
Okay.
We are simply reminding ourselves and reminding the world of who we are and who we have always been. We are a Mongo people and we remain as such. So the fact that you didn't know does not change the fact that we are Mongo people. So what we are doing, we are just highlighting the fact. And just to add that, some of these confusions exist because historically, and you will always see intermarriages between our forefathers with the Bakure people. You will discover intermarriages with the Balong people, intermarriages with the Douala people. So given the mindset, since we saw our existence as more or less cultural, so we saw that these are our brothers and sisters. And so there was no necessity to do any distinction. But it does not mean that there is no differences in between. We are just like the kola nut, which is one in Fako. But if you break the kola nut, you will see some little pieces. But unless you break it, it is Fako.
Okay, it is Fako. We are talking about a village that actually lies between Francophone and Anglophone Cameroon, the gateway to Anglophone Cameroon. And we know what is happening in Cameroon today, the Anglophone crisis that has caused many persons to move away from the conflict-stricken areas, especially after Boya, moving towards this way, to say that Missaka is hosting lots and lots of IDPs today?
Yes, Missaka is actually hosting a lot of IDPs. A lot have come to me and I've given them land to cultivate and things like that. And some are also working in the banana plantation. So the plantation is acting as a host to many of these IDPs. Some are also a job, they take up, you know, job clearing farms and earning their money. So I think Missaka is really contributing a lot. One time I attended a security meeting at the governor's office, and the governor of the Southwest region really hailed us. You know, he applauded our efforts, you know, in trying to maintain peace and all of that. So we are still open to more IDPs. If you are frustrated, you don't know where to go to, you have nowhere to be accepted or welcomed, Missaka is a host. Missaka is a host to everyone. You come to Missaka, you will surely find a place where you will be welcomed.
Okay. This person says, hello, Mr. Liu. Evening to you and the panelists. Mr. Liu, I'm surprised to see my religious prefect in BGS Moliku, Boya, who also is or was a pastor at the Full Gospel Church in Moliku. Wow, that's wonderful. But my little question is, how does he handle both the church and the chieftaincy? Oh, he has to let one go.
Correct. I think that applies to me directly. I've been asked this question more than 1,000 times. And there is one thing I would like to state very clearly. You know, any attempt to want to separate or wanting to separate the traditional stool from religion, it's an error on its part. He said I was a former pastor in the Full Gospel.
He's asking whether you... Yeah.
No, I'm still there. Yesterday we had a leaders meeting. I was there.
Okay.
And that's why we asked the church asked us to come and buy a generator here in Douala, and that's one of my reasons why I came here today. So I am still there. In fact, one of the reasons why the family even chose me was because of my Christian affiliations. You know, they felt that they needed somebody with the fear of God who can manage the affairs of the community. And I want to beg that sometimes when you are defining someone, don't define the person based on the ideas you already have. You know, they say when you speak, you say what you already know, but when you listen, you learn something new. So try to ask the person what is going on with the person than to think that the person is doing what you think the person is doing. Tradition in the Northwest, for example, is very different from tradition in the Southwest. If you look at our own, you look at the chiefs that I just installed there in the village, he was the coordinator in that program. You notice that I gave all of them Bibles, and I preached to them on that day, and I told them to uphold the standards of the Bible, and that is what will make a difference with us. The day I was installed myself, you saw I gave, it was like they were almost stopping anything, the program. I had to give room for prayers and all of that. And I went down on my knees, removed my cap, you know. Normally, it's according to tradition, this is not a cap. You don't need to remove it when you want to pray. But each person can only define the elephant based on the part that he touches. So you may not expect me to define the elephant. If I touch the tusk, I will tell you that the elephant is like a horn. It's like a thorn. But if you touch the leg, you tell me it's like a tree. So we all will give a different definition to how we relate to God based on how we have encountered Him.
Okay.
So I want to say that Christianity and tradition, they go hand in gloves.
Okay.
That is why we have people like David, we have people like Solomon. They were kings, they were leaders. I'm a king. You know, don't look at it from the eye that you're looking at it. Look at it from the eye that I'm telling you. I'm a king and it works. You can be a Christian and a lawyer. You can be a Christian and a chief. You can be a Christian and anything in life.
Hi, Mr. Kum. Greetings. I greet Chief of Missaka. He is a dynamic chief, and I thank him for helping all the IDPs and have given land to those who can build. Thank him very much. God bless him with wisdom.
Thank you.
Akum Walters is writing from Bengui. Okay. Yes, the IDPs, is there a special thing that the village is doing to ensure that they live in harmony with those that they met?
Yes.
Village?
First of all, the vision of Akasam is such that he placed humanity at the center. So he does not make much of a distinction between who is a native and who is a non-native. Before coming here, he had to stop by in one of the villages, Small Moko, to like see what is happening there, how they are struggling to make sure that they arrange the land in such a way that some people can even have some small space to at least build their herds and stay. So it's a laudable initiative, and that's just one of the areas which he has been very active in. And I want to tell you that in the vision of Missaka, it is all inclusive. So everybody who finds himself, if his or herself within the Missaka second-class chiefdom, will always find where to live, where to farm, and his interests will always be protected.
His interest is always going to be protected. We are talking about Fako, and we know what is happening in Fako with respect to land. Is Missaka also asking for land from the CDC to expand? Oh, you are not also involved as some people encroaching into Missaka land. Are you into some of these fights, Your Highness?
Staffman, I may not say that Missaka is asking for land because, you know, as I told you, all of that land in that area is our traditional, our customary land.
Okay.
We did not resist the Germans when they came. Our forefathers allowed the Germans to cultivate our area. And we were pushed right back towards the swamp. If you see, Missaka is not located anywhere around the road. Missaka is far inside the bush. Far inside. When you want to drive from the road, you take about 25 minutes drive before you get to the village. So it is just but incumbent upon the administration and the CDC. I've had talks with the general manager that the village that was 3,000 people in 1948, when the Germans came and they did a small population arrangement, was about 3,000 something people. Today, that same village has gone up to about 19,000 people, still managing the same space. I mean, it is just but normal that they have to give us space to expand. Other villages are using this as a kind of a whitewash, to deceive the government that their village is full and they want to expand and all of that. We are not doing that. You come to the village, you see our village, this is the village. We need space to expand. Nobody needs to tell you that. We have suffered from the time of rubber. We have suffered from the time of palms. We have suffered in the time of banana. You need to see when, especially the banana, when the caterpillar, how do they call that thing? The plane, yes, when the plane goes up to spray, and most of our women, they cook outside, the chemical falls in our food. Our water that we drink there in Smomoko is a spring that comes from the ground. The chemical goes there, and our people carry it and drink and all of that. So, if you ask me to even advise, I will advise that the plantation should be moved into a further area inside than trying to cost the life of the people. We need space to expand. We are not fighting or asking for land as other people are doing. Our case is genuine. We have never asked for that. Missaka has never gotten any land surrender anytime, and we were asked to also apply, and our document is there since 2019. So, and we are very sure, we are very positive because we have a genuine case. We are very positive that the area that has been allocated to us is safe and secure.
Okay, an area has been allocated already?
Area has been allocated to us.
Okay. Yes, but an area has been located to Missaka village, but we know that there is always a problem when it comes to sharing. We have stories now that there are chiefs that have been locked up severally. Are you people already telling Your Highness that, please, we don't want to see a repeat of what has happened in other areas?
Staffman, when you go to the Tiko court,
yes,
you go and just try to ask all the state councils and all the area, Missaka, we by the grace of God, I took it as a policy that nobody will take me up for double sale, number one. Nobody is going to take me up for land dispute, like see somebody's land and all of that. You will not hear cases like that in Missaka. Missaka has no case of that. And immediately this area was allocated to us, I called all of them in a meeting. I called the notables and I told them, I called the councillors, and then I called for an enlarged meeting with the entire village. And I reported to them that land has been given to us in this, at this magnitude. I gave them the specificities, the number of hectares that was given. So I even advised some of them. I said, this land that was given because I applied for 200 hectares. Because how do you share 33 hectares to 90 something people? 19,000 people. So I advised them that the administration told me that this is the first phase. We should start with this, then we evolve. So they should constitute themselves in groups, women groups, youth groups, and all of that, CIGs and all of that, so that it will be easier to identify with groups and families than to identify with individuals. That's where the problem is going to be. So we can say, okay, this family, this is your portion, you go and now see how you share the... So I'm worried about the national cake, and I'm not worried too much about how it's going to be shared to individuals. Okay.
Good evening to you all in the studio. My special regards goes to Chief Dipoko of Missaka village. I hail him for his explanations. This is Barrister Ketum Kenneth, writing from Bamenda. Land issues, very, very problematic, yes, especially in Fako. We have seen them. What are you and the other persons who are the collaborators of the chief, what are you guys already discussing to ensure that you people are not cheated?
I want to think that it is not something that is of much of an essence to us, because there is land grabbing in Fako. We were born there, we grew up there, we are living there, so we cannot say it is not a reality. It is a reality.
That's right.
And unfortunately, it is spearheaded by people who are supposed to be the custodians of the tradition and cultures of their people, who are likewise charged with ensuring that their interests are protected. But they are the same people in complicity with some unscrupulous administrators do things that are not in the best interest of the people. But I want to let you know one thing that is factual. That is why it is good to do research. You will not see, as far as I am concerned and as far as I know, there is no Mongo man or Mongo chief who has that problem of land grabbing.
Okay.
We are brought up in such a way that we used to say, last sono disi maswabe. If you want to touch our own, we will bite you.
That you cannot seize.
You cannot seize
from the ant's mouth.
that which is for the ant. That is how we are. So the issue of land grabbing, even you are the chief, you know that if this parcel of land is for this family, you cannot touch it. You know, you are brought up that way. That is how we, the Mongo people, we are. So it is not something of, we don't even discuss it often within us, because we know that the land grabbing issue, we only hear of it. It's not part of us. We protect our own, and our chiefs stand by their people. If we have issues, you will only hear about internal issues within families, which has nothing to do with the land grabbing saga that we have all over Fako. And that is where I think our other brothers too have to learn from the dignity of the Mongo man and save the face of the indigenes of Fako, because we are becoming a laughing stock. The same people who come and pretend as if they are begging to buy, when you sell, the next tomorrow they will still insult you. So at the end of the day, you must be careful, and it is our priority to make sure that we uphold the way we were brought up, because it is just part of our being.
Okay. This one says, Misakuma, I admire the Ambe of Missaka. He is a modern traditional ruler, but I will beg His Royal Majesty to stay clear from politics. Paddy Brown is writing from Bamenda.
Okay.
Many of the messages are coming from the Northwest region.
Okay.
You understand why he calls you Ambe?
Yeah.
Yes. This one says, good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Ebelle from Tiko. I would really like to ask the chief, does he know the limit of all his villages? Because, and why is it that he was being sent by another chief when he came to claim a land that does not belong to him? Did you go to claim land that?
Yes, I think that there was immediately after our traditional ceremony in the village, where the 9 chiefs were installed. I read, I think 2 or 3 days later, from the same newspaper, the Guardian Post, that somebody was accusing me of wanting to assimilate his village. You know, I almost, at one thought, I felt I should take that, the media or the paper house to court.
Okay.
Yeah, because what happened in Missaka was a ceremony. It's an open event. That's news. But somebody now writes his personal write-up and send to you, and you publish it. The person called himself Chief-elect. He's a Chief-elect. A Chief-elect means consultative talks has been carried out on you, which has never been the case. The GO himself was in that occasion. I invited people from the governor's office, the SDO's office, all of them, they were there. Even from Minat, they were there. You know, so the GO will not, take side with wrong. If he has done consultative talk on a particular village, I cannot go again ahead to install another chief, contrary to the one that the administration has put. Firstly, there is no village called Jopongo.
Okay.
Let me put it like that. And the reason why I say so is because Jopongo has existed as a quarter under Missaka. If Jopongo is going to gain its status as a full village, it is Missaka that will give him that status. It ends like that. So I don't want to go into his issue, but you know, as a journalist also, I felt it will be robbing our profession in the mud, and that's not, it's not called for. I will be robbing myself with young people who are struggling to grow. So let him go ahead, you know, and publish whatever he can publish, say whatever he can say. But I'm in the village. I'm in the village in Jopongo. I'm there. So if he thinks that he's the chief of Jopongo, he should come and meet me in the village. Then we now administer a rulership in the village. So I want to distance myself with that newspaper. I just pretended as if the newspaper did not exist. This is not the first time they're accusing me. I think one time some other person wrote that I'm working with administration and selling land and things like that. It was a rumor that came on social media, but I stayed quiet, and it ended like that. I've not taken anybody's land, and I've not seized anybody's village. He's here, and he knows what happens or what happened in the village. We just reorganized our setup. Today, it's just that it's not come with documents. I know the limits of all the villages. I was born there. My primary school, I did it in the village. CBC school, Missaka. That's where I schooled from class 1 to class 7 then. I only came to Douala because there was no secondary school in the village. You know, from there I left and went to Moyoka in Worldwide Mission High School, Pondo. Then I left again. I was like almost a school prostitute, you know. I left and came back to GBSS Moya. Then I went to Impastico. Then I went back to Somerset in Boya before I entered the University of Boya. So I wish to state that I know the limits of all the villages. We have toured around the village on foot. When we're doing primary school games and all of that, we go to Mondoni, we play. We go to Mate, we play, and all of that. We go to Moko. So I know the limits. I've not entered into anybody's limit. Unfortunately, I did not bring my file. I would have given you a flash of the map of the entire village and how each village is separated in that whole map, because we have a presidential concession that gives us 3,000 hectares, and that's the document that gives us the right to lease land to Bo Plantation. So all of that is coordinated. How did that come to be? 2002, we had a meeting at the GEO's office where all these communities sat, and then we agreed to do things like that. We agreed as a village to work as one. So I have not cheated anybody. I've not taken anybody's thing.
Okay, good evening. Just want to say the chief is a good, peace and loving man, especially when it comes to social events like sports, football, in particular around Fako. I pray may God continue to give him more grace and wisdom.
Thank you.
Davala is writing from Moliko,
okay,
that is in Boya.
Yes, I know him. We play football together.
Okay. Greetings, Mr. Leo. We should thank the chief of Missaka village for his genuine leadership. More grace on his shoulders.
Thank you.
By Prince Lekunze, writing from Boya also. Okay. Thanks to His Majesty for taking care of the IDPs. Frederick is writing from Bamenda. Missaka was led by the prolific poet Mbela Sole Dipoko, His Royal Majesty. I read his poems, never knew that he was the traditional ruler of Missaka, and never knew that I would be interviewing the son. Yes,
like father, like son.
Yes, but let us talk about tradition. You're talking about building Missaka. He's talking about a metropolitan village. Where is the place of tradition? You are also helping to grow, sell the tradition of Missaka, the tradition, culture and tradition of the Mungo people. What are those steps that you are taking to sell the village and Mungo?
Yes, like I said, I initiated the idea of us coming together as Mungo chiefs. So we come up with the Association of Mungo Chiefs. And so I'm the president of that initiative. Okay. Yes, so the second meeting is going to be on Monday. And I was talking with the Chief Mbolo today, the chief of Miselele, and asking him to bring some of the archives, and that we are going to rewrite the history of Mongo, of the Mongo people. The trouble we have is that most of our documents were kept by persons who have misplaced them. So we need to have a general archive. We need to write down all the ideas that we have, we bring them together, and then we move forward. So that's the first step we are taking as traditional rulers, if we don't start from there, we may have problems. The next step is to identify with those who also have information that can, you know, they say if you are not informed, you are deformed. So if we don't have this information that will help us to move forward, we may not be able to. So the third step is to identify with some of the elites or elites who are out of the area and who have not seen any need. If I start calling you names of people who are Mongo people, who have just decided to stay in Yaoundé and they say they're not coming back to Mongo, what, you may be shocked. But we have a lot of sons and daughters that we think that we have to bring them in to also contribute to this development. So no one is left out. It is a stakeholder kind of initiative that we are bringing up to see that the Mongo people or the Mongo man is rescued. Talking about Missaka, Missaka is actually Mongo because Missaka left from Mongo to go and establish in the other side. So it's still the same person. So whatever we do, if Mongo is actually found, then Missaka is found.
Okay, if Mongo is found, Missaka is found. Are there plans to organize festivals that will serve Mongo?
Yes. Let me talk about that. 2018, we came up with an initiative. Not actually we. It was an individual's initiative. That's the chief of Miselele. He does this yearly Tongo festival. So I was asking myself, the Boya, they have the mountain and they do the mountain race. I mean, we are blessed. The Bota people in Limbe, they have the sea, they do the canoe race. We are blessed with River Mongo. What can we also do with River Mongo? And some inspiration came to me that we are going to be organizing a yearly festival called the Mwanja Festival. Okay. The Mwanja is like the beach. It's like water. Mwanja is actually water. And here we are talking about the River Mongo water, not just any kind of water. So Tongo is like a stream. But here when we're talking about the Mwanja, we are talking about the bigger stream. So the highlight of that is an activity that we used to do when we were young, swimming across River Mongo and back. We used to swim across River Mongo and swim back.
You do that?
Yes, I can swim. But I know that the ability to sustain oneself now is reducing. You know, buoyancy is actually dropping now. But as a young man, we used to swim across River Mongo and swim back. So we want to do that as our festival, as our own highlight. There will be other things like Mulongo Duta, there will be Ngumesua. That's Mulongo Duta is talk of war, Ngumesua is talking about Palapala or wrestling, traditional wrestling, and many other things. We'll have dishes along. We have already allocated the place. There's already space just at the banks of River Mongo there where that will be done. So it's just a matter of time. And you'll be coming to the village to cover the Mwanja festival.
I hope it's going to be live, so that the world can...
That will be the best.
Can watch.
I want to beg that, why not even send a part of this media in Missaka, so that we too have a media house?
The boss, I'm sure the boss is listening to you. You'll talk with him after this. Yes. I like your explanation, Bear. They still call you Bear.
Yes, I prefer that sometimes than Igwe. I've had a lot of problems with people in my village. How can a Northwesterner call me Igwe? It's not proper. If a Northwesterner calls me Mbe, I understand where he's coming from and I accept with him. A Nigerian should call me Igwe, I understand. But he calls me Akasam. Akasam is the king.
Okay.
Yes.
I like your explanations, Mbe. You are a level-headed, distancing yourself from land grabbing is an applause to your administration. Good evening to you all. That somebody raised the issue that you need to distance yourself from politics. I'll come to that. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I am enjoying your program. I love the spiritual aspects of this one calls you the Igwe. I pray God continues to give him the wisdom of King Solomon. Amen. I am Bivatga Elvis, writing from Bali.
Amen.
Yes. Yes. Someone says you sound level-headed, admires your stance, religious stance, but once again, politicking. Are you into politicking?
That's a very, very simple question.
Okay.
Because sometimes you are involved in what you are not conscious of.
Okay.
Politics may be bad based on the way you define politics. But for me, politics is our day-to-day life, the way we relate with people, the decisions we make. That's all about politics. Politics may not just be in the sense of party politics, because I think that is where my friend is talking about. Party politics, being partisan to a particular or affiliated to a particular party and all of that. So, but I am just saying that we all are politicians. For instance, when you ask somebody a question, what is your name? And the person is thinking, why is he asking me what is my name? We are doing politics. You know, so we all are involved in politics. But what he is saying is that I should distance myself from party politics. For instance, I come here and I say I am a member of the CPDM party. That's what he's trying to advise, that I should distance myself. I hold that particular philosophy that as a traditional ruler, because I went to Nigeria, I went to Benue State in Boko, and I met with the Oba there, and you know, some of the things we discussed was that they, as traditional rulers, they have their own party in their mind, and they go and vote for that particular party. But when it comes to a traditional ruler sitting on his throne, he belongs to no party. Because in your community you have people from different parties, so you have to receive all of them. They are all your sons. So you don't tell one son, I love you more than the other son, and all of that. So in politics, when you ask me as an individual, as Daniel, when I stand and you ask me, you want to go and vote, which party do you want to vote in? I may not even tell you I'm going to vote for this party, but I will tell you as a member of this country, as a civilian, as a member of the decision making, because each voter is a decision making individual, is a decision making person. So I'm also going to take a decision as to how and who leads me. Okay. But when it comes to the throne, I sit on the throne. Everybody, whether you are CPDM, whether you are SDF, whether you are who, my uncle Mongo Adolf Dipoko is a journalist. He writes with the Eden newspaper. He's an SDF. We have never for once attacked him in the village or beat him. No, we take care of him. So Chief Mbela, my father, he said he was CPDM and he became the mayor under the CPDM. Nobody has attacked him and all of that. So you have the right to decide where you want to put your voice, but don't also deprive another person from deciding where he wants to put his voice. Okay. Good evening, sir. Greetings to all in the studio. Thanking the great leader of Missaka village. And my advice to him is this: rule out politics. Correct. And you will gain more traditional favors. May God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thaddeus is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Thaddeus. Yes, many persons are politics. They're giving their advice here. Yes. And it's good. Good evening to you people in the studio. Special greetings to Chief Dipoko. Those who are trying to derail the vision of the chief should be discouraged. Chief, go ahead. Don't give up. From Honorable Ngumba, writing from Limbe. Thank you. Good evening to you, Honorable. Glad to know that you are watching. Hello, Mr. Liu and everybody in the studio. I appreciate all of you for the good job you guys are doing. It is good that Missaka Ambe is present to make his subjects to know he is behind them. Most often the chiefs, after receiving bribes from the people, allow cattle graze as though the land was theirs and does not belong to the farmers. It is worth noting that the land belongs to the chief and nobody else. This is Tama Damien writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you. Yes, but the issue is also because it is difficult to have some chiefs express themselves and talk about what is happening. Now, what are some of the challenges you guys are facing in Missaka village today?
One of the main challenges I want to think is common in all rural areas, which is access to better living conditions.
Okay.
our roads are not that motorable. We don't have a steady power supply. We don't have a steady and convenient source of water. Our sanitary and hygienic condition is not yet up to standard. Those are some of them that I can enumerate. And at the same time, I want to think we have a population problem, because the geographical area that we inherited is, as at today, too small to host us, our children, and the others who are coming in. Because we cannot stop anybody from coming in for safety. We cannot stop anybody from coming in search of greener pastures. So there is a huge influx, especially with this unfortunate socio-political crisis rocking our country. So we find ourselves in a tight corner. We have to make sure everybody who is within reach should have a decent life, a decent living, and is protected.
Okay. Yes. Are these the only problems you're facing?
Well, I really don't like to talk about problems, but it is good to identify problems. And I'm glad that he has identified some major problems. One of the other problems that we are facing, I would like to talk about the solutions to some of these problems that he has raised. What we are doing as a people, because we can't just sit. When the Canadian High Commission came to the village, this is exactly what I told them. They were marveled. You know, they thought that we'll be saying, we are poor people, we need this, we need this. But I was telling them what we are doing and what we are planning to do. And they felt like, wow. So it's like, you already know what you have to do. We don't even need to tell you anything anymore. That is the kind of African I like. You know, I'm conceiving an idea. There's an idea of something I also want to write. I'm not a very good writer, but I will try to mimic my late father. I'm writing something on the title, By the Rivers of Babylon.
Okay.
You know, that is a conception that came to me one day when I was thinking about my father. So write something also and continue from where he ended. So what we are saying is that, for instance, the road, I put up a mechanism where we are constructing what they call inter-village network roads. And I mean, believe me, I paid caterpillars or excavators or dredgers from my own pocket to construct this road. There's a road now that is linking Small Moko to Moko. So if you want to go from Small Moko to Moko, you don't need to go to the main road before going to turn round. If you want to move from Small Moko to Mwanda, there's a road already constructed. And as he said, we stopped there to actually supervise the construction of that road before coming here. You know, then now what we have to do is the road that links from Mwanda to Missaka directly. The road is already there, but we have to improve on it. So I think for the road, we are doing our best. Let maybe whoever God will send to help us see that we are doing our best, and then just improve on what we are doing, not coming to do it for us. I really don't. Well, you know, when I went to my further studies in Belgium, the first day the economics lecturer came to class, he wrote on the board, I think there were so many Africans, so he knew that we believe in free things. So he wrote on the board, there is no free lunch. So we're wondering why he wrote that, and went and was doing one or two things around, you know, and we were just reading and wondering, there is no free lunch. We Africans, we know there's free lunch, but he said there is no free lunch. So later we understood that when he was explaining opportunity cost and all of that, you must give out something to get something else and all of that. So for water, I have done a borehole in my village, and I ensured that the borehole has not peaked, because almost the whole village is coming to fetch water there. So I'm trying to see how I can even, I've already connected, built a slab where the water has 4 outlets. So 4 people can be fetching water at the same time. So I'm also trying to see how I can get a small generator, a power generator, to power that water and extend it to the upper side of the village, so that those who are far up there will not need to come right down here to fetch water. So those are all initiatives that we are doing. And then for electricity, the coming of this company that I just told you of Sweco Poles, we already have conventions with them. that they are going to employ 20% of the population. And they're going to change all those wood poles that we have into concrete poles. This is my only challenge. I have one challenge that I want to present here. My challenge, I was talking with the youths on the 1st of January 2022 when they came to my house. My challenge is that when we open up to companies and they agree to employ our people are not usually ready. The youths don't go to school. The youths don't want to develop themselves, and it makes it very difficult because I will not want to have all my people working but at the level of laborers and plantation workers. I need to also come to a company and I see the son of the soil as the assistant manager or the operations manager or the finance clerk or the accounts officer and all of that. Why must they only work the most menial jobs in the company? Because they are not educated. They stop going to school. So I was encouraging them, and I'm still encouraging them even today. And apart from only Missaka people, I'm launching this appeal to everyone. The company told me to give them someone who has studied engineering of any form, just engineering undergraduate certificate. And they're going to automatically employ the person as the assistant operation manager. Do you know, I called everywhere, called everybody, please check who amongst us in the village has engineering certificate. We even did the calls at home and abroad. There's no one. So when we start losing those kind of positions, where do you think the company is going to give us the 20%? It will be laboring, cleaning, dusting, washing the toilets and all of that. That is not where I want my people to be. So please, I'm launching this call. This is the only challenge I have. The rest of the challenge, I can handle them. Roads, I can even work with my own hand. If I show you some of my videos, I go and clear the farm and all of that, you know. But for this one, I don't know how I can help myself. Please help me develop yourself. I've even launched that. I told you people that I'm giving you scholarship. Anyone who wants to study in a school and you don't have money, please, I'm already doing it. Just call me and we will see how that will happen. Even if it means for me taking a loan for you to go to school, I will do that. But I cannot take a loan to buy you a bag or buy you a dress. But I can take a loan to sponsor you to school.
Good evening to you all. Special greetings to my brother Chief of Missaka. My dear Chief, I want to testify that your leadership skill as Chief has inspired a whole lot. I am warming up to host a gospel crusade in that community hall upon completion.
Amen.
The Lord bless you, Bishop Ndingi JM. Writing from Douala here. Good evening to you, Bishop. Greetings to His Royal Majesty of Missaka and all in the studio. I do appreciate all the initiatives of the Chief. I want to ask His Royal Majesty what spiritual program does he have for Missaka, considering that he is a child of God who should have the salvation of his people at heart. Reverend Guy Edward, writing from Betua.
Oh, I know Reverend Guy. He was the former pastor of the Apostolic Church in Monaco.
Yes.
So,
you're going to ask everybody in the village to give their life to Christ.
well, the first, I think somebody said, preach the gospel, and if possible, use words. So I believe in that gospel that you preach with your lifestyle.
Okay.
That is my first gospel. In fact, if it's possible, we may not use words, but there are people who have come to me, even in the church there, and say, please, you are different. I like the way you live your life. Please, can you tell me your secret? I think that is where now words can come in. But the first gospel is live it with your lifestyle. So I'm doing my very best to make sure that my lifestyle tells the message first before I can talk to those who come close to me. You, like you said, you may not force everybody to align with your affiliations, with your beliefs and all of that. For instance, somebody say if he becomes the president of Cameroon, he's going to ban alcohol. That's not possible. It's not possible.
Okay. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and greetings to our King. We wish you well, and may God continue to bless you. Amen. And give you the grace to continue ruling with wisdom. And a special greetings to Mr. Ebelle Martin from the Bonaqua family at mile 16 in Boya. Good evening to you also. Good evening, Mr. Liu. More grace to Ambe. May God bless you all in the studio. Henry is writing from Diboncha. Good evening to you, Henry. Now, I want you to tell me about how you work with the administration. Good evening to you, His Majesty. I hail your points of view vis-a-vis the development of people's minds. A good number of your peers, chiefs, believe that development will not come to their areas without them taking part in partisan politics. I pray to God that you do not one day change your mind. Ayuk is writing from Kumba. Yes, you are, Your Highness. The administration, how are you working with them?
Well,
not easy, eh?
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's very cordial.
Okay.
I think one good thing is that I am an assertive person. Assertivity is the ability to stand on your right without necessarily stepping on the right of another person. I believe that the administration, they have their part and they have their role to play. I also, as a traditional ruler, a representative of my people, I have my rights and my role to play. But I will not tell you a lie. I will say it publicly and openly that what matters to me first is my people. Every other thing comes secondary. If you ask my people, they will tell you that. There was a time I was sleeping in my room at around after 9 p.m. and I had a call that there was trouble in the village. People were almost killing each other. I was in Boya. I had to leave Boya that night, took my car and drove alone. I went to the village and we handled that matter that night. I arrived Boya at about 12:30 a.m. That is midnight, after midnight. Immediately I got to my house, just about 30 minutes later, gunshots started in my quarter. So I just know that the steps of a righteous man, they are ordered by God. So that is to tell you that I don't have sleep. I give my number openly in the village. When we have an open village meeting, I announce my number for everybody to have it. So nobody, because something happened in the last administration, if you want to go and see the chief, you have to pay an amount of money to the protocol man before he takes you to the chief. That is the first thing I had to ban. The people have the right to come and see me directly. Only strangers may not have the right to come and see me directly. But my people have to come to me expressly. So my number is given to everyone. They call me directly and I handle their issues even on phone. Yes.
Okay. So, but with administration, you are also very cordial with them. You make sure that... But
we don't need to have problems with administration.
No.
The authority is put by God, you know, for our good. You need to respect authority. I don't know whether somebody wants me to say that I'm going to beat the DO up, I'm going to fight with him. Before you know that, I don't respect authority.
Okay.
Authority is put by God. If I don't respect the DO, some other person too will not respect me.
Tell me about the security situation since the start of the ongoing crisis, the Anglophone crisis. We have lots of IDPs who now live. Are there some measures that have been taken security-wise? Are you consulting with the people? Are you telling them how to live with the people of Missaka?
Yes, by and large, the security situation as of today is relatively stable.
Okay.
And I will not tell a lie. It is thanks to the vision of Akasam, because if you don't have a leader who is oriented towards the well-being of the people, he will neglect certain details that will serve as a trigger to a more devastating effect. If we enjoy relative stability today, is because at the very early stage of the crisis, he nipped it by the bud. By getting close to the people, he involved all of us that this thing is bigger than us, but we will not leave our community to perish. What do we do in order to preserve our harmony, to preserve our living together within our own local level? The bigger picture is left for those who have the power to handle. So he put in place a local security network and involved the youths. We have so many youths who volunteer to be each other's keeper, which means at every point in time, we are aware who is in the village and who is not in the village. At any point in time, we know every movement in the entire chiefdom of the second-class kingdom. You can imagine how vast it is. But he has put in place a system of surveillance that the children of the place are part of it. So they know that their security depends on them. If you destroy it, you destroy yourself. Because we have the belief that if there is problem in the house, it is not necessary for you to listen to an outsider who tells you that your mother is a witch and he cannot solve your problem. So for that reason, you have to commit suicide. No. We believe that every problem has a solution. Committing suicide because your mother is a witch, has been told that is a witch, cannot solve your problem, is, to us, it is some sort of a misconception. So we preserve what we have achieved while hoping for better things tomorrow. We cannot destroy our own because there is a superior problem that is bigger than us. So we keep our security and we keep our situations, we keep our problems at our levels, and it is participatory.
Okay.
Everybody is part of it.
Good things, sir. Please let the fund put in place a credit union for the population. Terence is writing from Bagante. He says this is the fun of nowadays. Okay.
It's already existing.
Let me react to that. There was an incident that happened in the village in 2016. One mama took her monies, it was about 700 and something thousand, and went into the bush behind her house to bury that money under a tree. Unfortunately for her, there were two guys on the tree. So she buried the money and they were looking at the money. So when she went home, they came down and collected the money. That is because the access to banks is very far. You either have to go to Tiko or go to Douala to do banking. So immediately in 2017, I launched a microfinance called the Freedom Savings and Loans Microfinance in Tiko. And I opened a branch in Moko in the village. So there's a branch in the village and the microfinance actually is in Tiko. So I think he just took words out of my mouth.
Okay, so it is existing already. Now, what are the future plans for the village that you are envisaging?
I want to start by appreciating where he ended, appreciating the young men who decided to take their destinies into their hands and to make sure that we all are enjoying the peace we are enjoying today in Missaka. Missaka is hosting a lot of IDPs because the people of Missaka decided to be hardworking and decided to look after their own backs. So we want to thank all the youths and thank everyone, the elders and everyone who has contributed to ensure that peace reigns in Missaka. And I will call on every other community to rise up and to make sure that peace reigns in their community. The peace you're going to enjoy is not the peace that another person will enjoy. You'll be the primary beneficiary to that peace. So, coming back to your question, you're asking if what are some of the
plans?
The plans.
Yes, you said earlier on that there are some companies that are existing already in the village. Are you open? Are you contacting investors?
Yes.
To come in.
We have companies already existing, and we are working even with both plantations. They are planning to do a secondary school for us. They just asked us to show them the place. They have added 3 classrooms to the primary school where I schooled, and modern classrooms. The Sanctuary people did a playground for the children, and they also assisted us in maintaining the road, the main road leading from Missaka to the highway. So the next plan, after trying to put the community hall where we'll have a befitting hall like yours here, air conditioned, have a hall like that with air conditioning in the village. We also have playgrounds. We do even artificial kind of beach. We have a lot of swamp there that is wasting.
Okay.
I'm talking with some partners in Dubai and America. They are asking me to look for time and come so that we sit and concretize. One of the projects I want them to carry out is low-cost buildings.
Okay.
If you look at the video there, I was not comfortable. Sometimes I was holding myself and say, oh, is this my village? But what gave me hope was that tomorrow may be better than today. I want low-cost buildings to be built in our villages, where the next time you come, you will not see those kind of houses all through the streets. You will see story buildings like they're already going on now. We went to the village. I showed you the first story building that has been built in the village. And a swimming pool is already coming. We went again to the next village. We saw the second story building that is under construction. So those are the kind of things that we want to do in the village. Now, I am thinking that we are going to announce that everyone that has a caraboat or mud house along the road should either reconstruct something befitting or we destroy it. But I cannot do that if I have not allocated space for those people to be accommodated. So we will first of all do the low-cost building. It's not even along the road. It's somewhere, it's a quarter I've already, they call it New Jerusalem. So that area has been reserved for the low-cost building. Once that project is complete or completed, we will now evacuate those who cannot construct befitting buildings along the road to go and take harbor in those areas. They will be paying menial amounts, considering the fact that maybe their lands also here have been taken. We will evaluate it and deduct it. Some may even just leave from here and go there and don't pay anything and own the houses. While modern houses now will be constructed along the roads. So we will not displace anybody without making sure that those people have a place where they will be placed. That is the call I want to give. That is a project that is paramount in the fabrics of my bones and my medulla oblongata. I think that the people should have befitting houses, not houses where snakes can come in and stay with you. You know, my father told me one time that they were in their house with my mom, and 2 snakes entered into the house, 2 vipers, you know, and they were staying with them in the room until they discovered it. One was up, one was down, and they had to kill it that night, you know. But we don't need this kind of environment anymore. We need a clean environment and all of that. We're also thinking of introducing solar system energy in the village. So all those things are on the pipeline. But what is paramount is low-cost buildings for me.
Okay. Please, Mr. Liu, I really wish to have the fund's contact. I'm a Southwesterner from Wabane in Lebialem Division. Just
Wabane.
Yes.
I have people from Wabane who are in Small Moko.
Okay.
Yes, I have them there.
Okay. Please, can you just get to me after the program? I'll give you the fund's number. Now, how you have said that you want this, but Cameroon, you are not telling me about Cameroonians that you think should also come in there.
I had told you a while ago that we want our elites to come in. We want our brothers who are abroad. We are trying to create a network where we can also liaise with them. We have already gotten in contact with some of them, and I've allocated lands, because one of the when I went to Yaoundé and the whole Mongo group in Yaoundé received me at one of our sister's house. I don't want to mention names here. They cried that most of those who left the village as at now don't have any place to come back to, because the people who were in the village have confiscated everything, some have sold everything and things like that. So they don't really have a place where they can come and base that this is my own village also. So I assured them that lands will be allocated for all. And I mean it. Lands will be allocated for all. There's enough land in the village, please. There's enough land in the village. So there will be space for these people to come and stay in the village, come and also build something in the village. And then, you know, so these are some of the people that will be contributing to fostering the development we are talking about, while also giving room for our economic operators who are already there to also contribute their quota, and also not leaving out the people we are looking forward to as investors, those who want to come and invest. So many people have met me. Even today, I was talking to one of my classmates in UB, Tamnjong. We met in UB, in Boya today, and he said, please, I said, please, the village is open. I need you to come and give your own contribution. Staffman, one of my reasons why I am opening up to everybody is because you don't know who holds the key to the answers you are crying for. So, who knows? You may see somebody, and that's one of the reasons I don't despise anybody. Somebody may come in 2 rope slippers and a t-shirt and it's the Tata jean, and you just play low on the person, but that's the person that is coming with what you are looking for. But you are only looking for the man that is wearing suit and comes with a jeep. So that has changed it has given me a paradigm shift in terms of looking at people and receiving people. So I receive people of all standards because I don't know who holds my destiny in his hands.
Okay. We have come to the end of this edition of Prime R. Certainly you have a word for the people of Missaka and Cameroon as a whole.
My first word of encouragement is for my fellow kingsmen that we should focus on developing our communities. We should take the bull by the horn, raise our communities to what we want it to be, befitting of the status, and to enable all our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora, who are out of the village, to have a facility to come back home. Let's join hands to make our community, our chiefdom, and the entire Mongo clan a paradise.
Okay, Your Highness, certainly one last word for the people of Missaka.
My first last word is, why has no one talked anything negative about us? It's only positive. That's my first last word. I wanted to hear something that would challenge me also, something maybe I'm not doing that I need to do.
I don't know why.
Okay, so I think that's my first worry. But I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you all for giving us a hearing ear and for contributing also in the encouraging words that you've sent across. We will do our best. We are not the best yet. We are trusting God to bring out the best in us. I believe in the Lord, and if you doubt it, find time. We'll talk more about that. But this is not a platform where I come and advertise my convictions and all of that. But just know that God leads me and I follow. So thank you very much for giving us a hearing ear. I pray that the people of Missaka will arise from their sleep, update, because if you don't update, you outdate. Okay. Update and upgrade. I need that because the future is pregnant.
The future is pregnant. Good evening to you, Nungme. God of watching us from Bomenda, as well as to you, Mr. Ngwa Ambe Eric, and the wife watching us from Mile 6 Mancon in Bomenda. Thank you to you, His Royal Majesty, for coming, and to you, all of you.
Mr.
Yes, Mr. Yes, for coming. And we also want to say thank you to the production team for what you guys have done today. Not forgetting Pat Debo, who is giving us moral support. Not forgetting you, Tambe Bryant, supervising the work we do out here. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.